at the uppermost part of the Muddy River system. There's 5 major springs here and countless smaller springs that all emanate in this area. Water comes out of the ground about 90 degrees. The source of this water is mountains in eastern Nevada, up around Ely, Nevada, maybe the Snake Range and some of the other mountains. The water flows down into the ground up there. It pops up in various places, like around Lund and Paranagit. Some faulting here forces the majority of the water flowing down that pluvial White River system up to the surface here at Warm Springs here at Moapa. The multiple springs come together and form the Muddy River, which flows into Lake Mead and the Colorado River.
You know, the Moapa Dace is endangered, and in order to manage it, we want to observe its numbers over time and over space. So we're lucky in that it lives in pretty small springs and up to the Muddy River, where at the Muddy River the water's getting big enough it's kind of hard to survey fish by snorkeling. But through most of the system, snorkeling works really well to count the fish. And what we do is we put on snorkel masks and swim upstream so that we're in clear water. And as the fish go by us, we keep a count. And it turns out to be a really effective way to count Moapa Dace.
So 30 mollies and 2 adult dace.
So not only are we getting the numbers periodically, right now we're doing it twice a year, but it helps us literally get our eyes on the ecosystem, and that's really useful to detect like invading species, or maybe there's a pipe that's broke, and then other just problems with the flow. We're looking at that pretty much all the time. And then we also record where we're getting these numbers of fish, and the fish are basically telling us what they like as we're restoring the habitat. So it's a great feedback loop for us to learn what the fish needs.
The fish in the river, they prefer warmer water, so they tend to be up near the headwaters of the Muddy River, some of the springs that feed in. They like quite a bit of current, so they'll often be seen swimming just kind of in the middle of the water, kind of with a rapid movement, riding in the current. And they're drift feeders, so that means they like to eat little bits of food that are flowing past them, so they'll just stay in the current and pick off little bits of food. A lot of times you'll have what we call drift stations that form in pools right below logs or other types of underwater structure that gives a slight break in the current and provides a little deeper water, but still gives a good area for the fish to feed. And when you're snorkeling and trying to count these fish, you really look for those types of areas, because you can just kind of sit there and they'll swim in front of you and you do your best to count them.
And so this fish is a little minnow. I mean, it's susceptible to a lot of predators. They can get up to about 6 inches long, but because they haven't had access to the Muddy River in the last couple decades, they're usually 3.5, 4 inches or smaller. But one of the things we're able to do is go out and count these fish where we've done different restoration projects, and we can actually do a restoration project and see the fish respond. Or maybe in a few cases they don't like it, and we say, oh, what's wrong? And it helps us learn how to manage this fish. And so we have a great group of people here working together, a partnership that involves federal agencies, state agencies, the county, Clark County, several utility districts, the Southern Nevada Water Authority being a very important one, and Nevada Energy is helping with this, and private landowners in the area. So we're fortunate with the Muddy River ecosystem and Moapa Dace that it's a fairly confined system. It's really not that large geographically, and we do have a wildlife refuge that protects 3 of the spring heads and the flow that the fish rely on. And then the Southern Nevada Water Authority has this Warm Springs Natural Area behind me that protects the other 4 springheads. And those 7 springheads are the entire universe for this fish. They live nowhere else on Earth.